1. Draw a map to get lost, Yoko Ono. Map a lost to get a drawing, Yoko Ono.
How can I be sure of you, Harry Nielsen? My life is good, Randy Newman.
When my grandmother died, she left me a perfume bottle filled with ink. She also left me her scent in a cardboard box full of her clothes, which I occasionally open.
I never met my or your grandmothers. They are but, for me, myself. My relations to deceased perfume evokes powder or ash, which is what I use to clean your mirror. There is nothing that I occasionally open. 2. I cannot stomach these forms and colours anymore, George Harrison. I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in its hand, Warren Zevon.
The eye is a menace to clear sight at Reinhardt. Is anybody here at Reinhardt? Does anybody here would like to be at Reinhardt instead?
The stomach is a kind of map. Depending on whether you believe in contemporary health revolutions, the city is a kind of stomach, depending on your possession of metaphor. To get lost in English when I was young was meant as an insult. Beloved, quiet is quite loud in the city stomach.
There are 2 kinds of poets. Those who write novels and those who are destined to appear in them. I prefer the latter. 3. Maintenant, Arthur Cravon, maintenant.
Don't look at me, I'm the bus stop boxer, Mark Everett. I wanted to be a caravan when I was younger, but then I realised how much damage to the brain boxers make.
I'm hiding in your patience. I'm hiding in your obligation to stay.
My debut novella is by a poet. It is about a person who has sentience and starts a museum of beds. In it, there is a case of patience. The person waits by the case and falls asleep. I put myself in this fiction. I am the one who must stay and watch, just in case. Esther is the one asleep. Why would we stay when there is so much that is not here?
That is a beautiful question. I shall not spoil it with an answer. John Cage.
I am able to walk from any location within Zone 3 of London to any other given point without consulting a map. I don't know the road names, for like speaking German, why would I learn that? I can imagine the routes in my mind, though, and describe them.
When did you become an artist anyway? He muttered. The moment Bastian Ader turned his gaze away from shore. 5.
when Esther first told me she wanted to leave during our collaboration, I took it as a personal insult. Because I thought, well, if I've invited you to come from Austria and you leave in the middle of our collaboration, then the ACF might be upset by that. And then I thought, well, they're used to the things that I do now, and they'll probably think it's my idea. And when I asked Esther, why do you want to leave and not come back at all? Like, not come back tonight, like maybe midnight. She was asking me earlier, what time will everyone leave? So she made sure she wouldn't come back while you were here. I said, well, why is that, Esther? And she said, well, I'm going to take out my contact lenses. And I was like, well, that's not an explanation. That's very much what Esther would reply to a question that's relatively straightforward, which might in and of itself explain why she's left. But the actual reason why she's left is she has really poor eyesight. So she said, it's a huge risk for me to take out my contact lenses and then go walking into London. I might get hit by a car. And I said, because I'm English, well, if that happens, then I'll make sure I wrap your coffin in that flag. And she went, oh, no, don't do that. And I said, you'll be dead, there'll be nothing you can do about it. And she said, well, I'll take my contact lenses out right now, and I can't see you, Steve, you're just a blur. I said, well, you're just going to walk into Hyde Park while everyone's sat in this room. I said, the way people's minds work, Esther, even if I stay and I tell everyone to imagine what you're experiencing right now, what you're seeing with your blurred vision where you can't see a face 3 foot in front of you, they're not going to be able to take the moment because of the context of a live event and the fact that they've got their attention on me to imagine what it's like for you. And you're going to be spending the time as you're walking down the street thinking what they're thinking, but I'm not going to be able to convince them to think what you're thinking unless I go quiet. And I find it extremely difficult to be quiet. I can fill silences by talking and talking. So I thought, what I'll do is I'll stop and I'll talk. And she said, what are you going to say? I don't know what I'm going to say, Esther. There's going to be an alarm set at the start, and whatever's left of our time, I'm just going to talk. And I'll probably end up talking about you, not because you're special, Esther, with your serious conceptual or fluxus idea or whatever it is, but because what else am I going to talk about? Everyone just heard you leave. And really, the only reason I agreed to do it is because I do like the sound of the door shutting at the inside. This old Georgian house, the way that the sound carries down the corridors and goes up the stairs, I knew that moment when she took out her contact lenses and shut the door, it would feel like somehow she'd left me. And then I thought, well, that's quite an interesting idea. I could just stand up and say, she's gone and she ain't never coming back. Or I could do it without a funny accent. Say, has anyone been left by a parent when they were a child or something, you know? Esther's gone and she's never coming back. And Esther said, someone in the back will start to cry. And I'd be like, I know, that would be a huge success as a performance. I mean, there might be someone in this room with abandonment issues who's just felt what I felt as Esther left. But because I could make a joke out of it and I knew it was coming, it's not particularly upsetting for me, of course. I suppose we should still probably be thinking, not with my waffling, about what Esther is actually experiencing now, because I know Esther really well. She's not hanging around at the Pret-a-Manger at Knightsbridge. She's actually seriously doing this. I couldn't actually persuade her not to do it. Perfect. Thank you very much.